and gentlemen, welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the Why You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, we're totally watching it for the plot boys of the Why You Say Anime podcast. We'll be reviewing the 2010 anime High School of the Dead. We got a unique one today as we are running 3 deep, and for the first time in Watch Club history, it's myself, Kat, and Pat, so it should be interesting. Hopefully, we can pull something together. Pat, why don't you tell us a little something about this show?
Yeah, absolutely. We, emergencies happen, things happen. We're hoping everyone's okay, and everyone else in the club will be back in a week or two. So we'll figure it out. So we watched High School of the Dead. The show aired in the summer 2010 season, done by Studio Madhouse. I didn't even realize that before I just read this. That's really fun. Madhouse, known for doing a couple other horrors like Shiki, a couple other shows that my brain's blanking on. It's your favorite studio, is it not, Pete?
Frieren, Orb, Sunny Boy, like
Death Note,
Hunter. Yeah, it's like what?
No
what
Game,
happened?
No Life for those who like that.
Banger.
Hey.
Miss on No Game, No Life, but then banger.
Yeah,
fair enough. No, every show they do is fun at the very least. And so again, back to High School of the Dead, sourced from a manga. It's an action, horror, suspense, ecchi, gore, survival shonen with an R+ rating for mild nudity. I don't know why it has that tag personally, but yeah, let's get into our first impressions.
Mild nudity.
Yeah, no, I know. That was a slight sarcasm there. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah, it's okay, Pete.
How did I miss the joke so bad?
There's 3 of us. It's okay. We're this is going to be either the best episode we've ever done or by far the worst. We'll figure it out. Maybe
we'll see.
Didn't we do a 3-man episode once for The Girl Who Leapt Through Time?
We did.
You
guys did.
That was me.
It was 3 straight white dudes.
And who was that?
Miles.
Saint? No, I think it was
Saint.
It was Saint.
Yeah, we're
dating ourselves.
It got 50,000 views, so who knows? Or how many thousand?
Yeah, it's like
I don't
60,
know.
70,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
We earned it, baby. There
Totally.
we go. So,
Average watch time of like 3 seconds.
Yo, it's like 6.
There we go. But yeah, let's do our first impressions before we get too lost in the sauce. Kat, what were your first impressions of High School of the Dead? Did you watch it before this sit down, things like that? Let's hear about it.
So, we're going to start with when I first started watching anime. I've heard of High School of the Dead since when I first started understanding the community of anime. I really loved getting into a bunch of the shonen and, the whole joke about Baku no Piku and all that stuff. And then I heard High School of the Dead and I was like, no. So I have been strong on that opinion until it was nominated and won. I have actively been nominating against it this entire time, or voting against it this entire time. But I guess here we are now. I'm glad that I've watched it, so I can accurately and wholeheartedly say that I did not like the show. It was my first impressions of the show are that it is the thing that people got bullied. This is the show that people got bullied over. This is the type of anime that you're watching, it's really tense, and then as soon as your parents come in, penny shot. But the thing is, it's always the penny shot. You're just deluding yourself into not noticing the penny shot until they're there. That's what's going on. That's what's going on here. When you were a kid, you had Stockholm syndrome with this show. Because when you were watching, you didn't see it until your mom came in and then you saw white lacy panties. Yeah. I would recommend this to a 16-year-old.
Hell yeah.
And horny adults that like anime. But
That's our podcast's own hentai reviewer telling us that he'd recommend.
No. Okay. I'll get into that later. Hold on.
Okay, fair enough. No, I'm just busting your balls here. I can totally understand your But it is a lot. That was a really good analogy.
It's a lot.
The fact that like your parents walk in and it's like, oh, but the sex scene was there the whole time. It wasn't, you didn't just notice it until the
Right.
parents came in, right? That idea. Pete, what about you? What's your experience with High School of the Dead?
Just real quick, Kat, did you mean to say Boku no Pico or did you meant to say Boku no Hero Academia?
No, I like when I first started getting anime, Boku no Hero Academia didn't come out. Boku no Pico was like the joke that everybody was talking about.
Oh, okay. I was
everyone was talking about like, oh, these are the shows that you need to start watching. It was like One Piece, Naruto, Boku no Pico, High School of
Gotcha.
Dead. Those type of
Okay.
things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You said shonen and then said Boku no Pico. I'm like, did you mean that?
I mean, to be fair, there is a young boy in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling Boku no Pico is not a shonen, but
It's not.
I'm 0 for 2 on missing the joke this episode, so.
No, but I get what you're, Kat, to comment on that point too. Like, this is the kind of show that you get. It's like an Ahegawa hoodie,
Yep.
you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like this is why people think anime is all just Ahegawa hoodies and, like you said, Boku no Pico, whatever, all the BS crap,
Yeah.
you know, that makes all of us look like perverts, you know?
Oh, 100%.
I say with a bunny girl senpai figure right there behind me in a bunny suit. But hey, you know what? Some of us are okay. We're cool, right?
But the thing with Bunny Girl Senpai is like that's
You're right.
That's like the joke isn't the thinly veiled hentai. The joke is thinly veiled hentai for High School of the Dead.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
I can see that. Yeah, that's a fair point. But yeah, Pete, what about you now?
Okay, so first impressions. Before I out myself, this is the 3rd time I've seen this show. When I started my anime journey, I only had Netflix. And so I was watching Hunter x Hunter. I was watching Code Geass because those were the first couple of shows that I watched on Netflix because that was the only place I knew where anime was. And one of them was also High School of the Dead. And going into it, I'm like, oh, I like zombies and interesting premise and everything like that. This is before I didn't know what ecchi was. I had no clue what it was. And I watched it, I was like, oh, this is horny. Oh, and this is a lot. And then as a rewatch, it kind of reminded me a lot of Rosario Vampire season 1, where the show didn't take itself seriously and it knew what it was trying to do and it didn't hide the fact. I'm not a big ecchi person at all, but if you're gonna be ecchi, go full blown ecchi. Like, don't do like the one panty shot an episode. Don't do the, oh, I fell over and now I'm on top of you and I can see your underwear. Don't do that. Like, it's boring. If you go full ecchi, then I at least respect you for taking those decisions and like pushing the boundaries. And that's what High School of the Dead did. My first exposure to ecchi and really just going with whatever it wanted to do. On my I guess it's technically my second rewatch, but my 3rd time through, I didn't think the ecchi was as bad as I remembered it. I think it gets really bad in some spots, especially episode 6, which is essentially, I feel like it's like an OVA for like 90% of that episode. But I really don't think it's maybe it's just because I'm like so accustomed to anime and everything like that. I'm like, oh, that was not that bad. Not that I was like keeping track of how many panty shots there were, but it really didn't seem as bad. And the fun was still there. Like, the reason why I like High School of the Dead is for what it is, it's still a super fun zombie show. And I relived some of that during my rewatch. I would recommend this if you live by yourself, regardless of age. I think it's still fun to rewatch. If you're not an ecchi fan, like obviously skip it. But if you like don't mind ecchi or you love it and you haven't seen it, I would still recommend this show.
Fair enough. And yeah, I'm the one who nominated this. I loved this show. Similar to Pete, when I first started watching anime, this is a show that came up to me pretty naturally. Like, I didn't seek it out. I think I just saw that it was a zombie anime, and I'm like, those aren't common. That's cool. I'll go watch that. Like, let's see. And I, even at the time, as a older teenager, I remember being like, this is ridiculous, but it was fun. It was stupid. It was action packed as well, which I was really interested in at the time. You know, like I am a big fan of zombie or living dead, whatever you want to call it, media. I think that a good example of this is The Last of Us. Right now is literally airing as we speak, and There's a lot of discourse around it, and so often zombie shows are so themed around who are really the monsters, and I think that like, is it the monsters, the actual threat, or is it the humans, and when they're faced with their own mortality. And I think that this one does it really well for an anime, because there's no other anime that do it. There's like no other zombie anime other than Zom 100, which is also an excellent show. So I don't know. I think I definitely have my blinders on. This is also my third rewatch, Pete. So you're not, or second rewatch, third time going through it. So don't worry, Pete. I think I had very similar thoughts to you, where the second or the first time I rewatched it, I was like, damn, this really is ecchi. It's really in your face. This is a lot for me. And then going through this time, I really didn't feel, I mean, it is ecchi, don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad. And like those famous scenes, like the that we'll get to, such as the bullet scene.
Yeah.
We'll keep it blunt like that. If you look at that and actually try to tell me that is meant to like make my pee-pee hard, like, come on, like look me dead in the eyes and tell me that's supposed to make it hard.
Meant to make your pee-pee
If you were
hard.
18, I bet it would. I'll be straight up with you.
Fair enough. And I am
100%.
26 or 20. I'm 27 now.
Yo, out
Holy
this
shit,
guy,
I'm
old man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so yeah, but seriously, like that scene, you can't tell me they were animating that and saying to themselves, "Oh yeah, that's the good stuff under the table." Like no way. There's no way. It does not take itself seriously at all. But without doing that, it still has pretty interesting characters, and their relationships, I think that their dynamics, I guess, are really well explored in this show. And it kills me that that the original mangaka will never be able to finish the story that he had in mind. He passed away. He took a hiatus, and then he unfortunately passed away. I believe it was cancer that he had, and his brother has come out and said that it'll never be finished. There's no interest in finishing it, similar to like or akin to something like Berserk. Slightly different scales of cultural relevance, maybe, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it's really because the manga does go a little bit further, and it is really good. I remember reading it after my second first rewatch and being like, this is good. This is the good stuff. They explore even more character growth and development. And man, we're going a little off topic here for our first impressions. I would recommend this for, like everyone else said, horny people. They're going to like this show. People who want a zombie show, though, too, I think are still going to be able to enjoy it, unless, and it's funny hearing this coming from me as someone who usually hates ecchi in any capacity, as long as you can look past that and or become numb to it, which it does become very easy to become numb to it in this show. It's very enjoyable. So yeah, don't watch this with your girlfriend. Maybe watch this on your own, or watch it late at night, but watch it. I think you should watch it. So yeah, that's our spoiler-free first impressions. I guess it's time to get right in to our discussion. Pete, you mentioned that you have a talking point that you want to bring up first.
Yeah, I think this will transition to some of the focal points that we have in our mind, but I want to play a game with you guys.
Oh, I love games.
So the game is guess how many. So how many? This is all describing like the eras that we're in for anime. So how many ecchi anime do you think came out in 2024 last year?
Roughly about 16.
I'm gonna guess lower because I feel like it's lower. Let's go with 8.
It was close. It was 7.
Ah.
Guess how many ecchi anime came out in 2010 when this aired?
30. I'll go first this time. 30.
I'll go 3.
Oh no, 19. So
shit.
we've gone significantly down in how many ecchi animes are adapted like throughout the years. And I think that's just been replaced with like whatever fad is currently happening. Whenever I always wanted to bring this up whenever people talk about how great anime was back in the day. And it's like, do you remember the 2010s when we had literally like 5 ecchi a season? Because last time I checked, that was really bad. But now it's sort of been replaced with like isekai and villainous stuff and whatever like the fad is, I feel like going forward, it's kind of like we kind of like replace one type of like non-staple and then replace it with something new. So I want to get your guys' thoughts. Would you rather be in the era of ecchi or the era of like isekai?
Isekai 100%, because like isekai, you can have shows that are really really bad, like what's it called, Another World with My Smartphone. I was getting there. I was just
the
trying
bad
to remember the name
one.
of the show.
Let me think.
Yeah, really bad. Like Another World with My Smartphone. High School Prodigies are have it easy, even in Another World. Like a bunch of schlop like that. And then you can also have like really good shows, like one of my personal favorites, Slime, or there's also I thought about Psycho, but like
you know, we got Slime and we got Slime season 2.
An SAO.
We're talking good isekai.
We're talking good, not mid.
It's not even an isekai.
Well, technically Shangri-La Frontier, if we want to include SAO.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, but like there's a bunch of really good isekai that aren't coming to my mind because I wasn't expecting isekai to come into the conversation.
I love catching people off guard.
But like when we talk about ecchi, like one of my favorites is the one where the girl's father is like a hentai mangaka. It's like a short form, and it's really fun. Yeah,
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That show.
I really like that one.
I like that one too.
But it
was funny. I forgot it existed. It was so short, you know?
Yeah. I prefer my ecchi to be shorter because like when it's played out too long, it gets tiring. But like that's one of the reasons why I don't like Rosario Vampire. Like it's a little bit too long for me. It's one of the reasons I don't like this show because it's a little bit too long for me. Like there's so much ecchi schlop from back then that people don't really talk about anymore. Isekai, yes, has a bunch of slop, but also I could sit down and watch Slime or Shangri-La for 24 minutes and not feel embarrassed. So
this is a tough question for me because I feel like I don't know which one I'd prefer. Even as an SAO defender and knowing that is like the show that launched the isekai crap that we deal with now. Then I sit here and I think about the ecchis we're talking about are just the ones we remember too. Like what Pete you brought.
I got a list if you want to hear.
No, but it's like I'm thinking of like immediately. I'm just thinking back to the 2010s and Prison School again, High School of the Dead. Yeah, the bed. Like those are the good ones that we remember in the same way that we're remembering.
Yeah, 100%.
We're remembering Slime as a good isekai. We're remembering. Sure, I can't condone that opinion personally, but I believe you. Like Grimgar, we're remembering like as like isekais that are good.
Yeah.
But then we've got to remember that there's like 6 of them coming out a season, and there's a lot of crap in there that we're not going to remember 5 years from now when, God, please let it happen, when ice hockey is the new trend, and then it's in every other anime in the 2025s or 2030s. You know, when that happens, we're going to be looking back and saying, did we prefer the ecchi era or did we prefer the ice hockey era? And like, what do we want? So I don't know. We'll see. Pete, what's your answer to this before we
just real quick, I gotta give you the lineup. This is just fall 2010.
Fall of 20, so
just
one
fall.
Season.
Okay.
Panty and Stocking, Heaven's Lost Property, To Love Ru, Samurai Girls, Yosuga no Sora, and even though it's not considered an ecchi, Arimo. That's one season of anime. Like, I will take isekai slop over whatever that season of anime was 10 times out of 10. Like, I feel like it's the same. It's kind of like what Pat said. Like, for every 10 isekai we get a season or whatever, maybe one's good. For ecchi, I feel like for every 10 ecchi we get, or in this case, I'm gonna say for every 20 ecchi anime we get like one good one. Like, there's some stuff where like you can overlook, and sometimes the ecchi can be fun, especially when they're adult characters. But I would much rather prefer the isekai slop era, because more times than not, I find better enjoyment through it. I find higher like production values, and it's significantly less problematic.
That's a big one. That's a big one. I guess we should talk about the actual show too, right?
Yeah,
That
I
we
was hoping to
watched,
transition that into the actual show.
This is the Walking Dead, not the Walking Dead. Oh god, yeah.
Oh god,
this is the Walking Dead
I watched the
podcast now,
wrong show.
everybody. Yeah, no. I guess my first thought is this show, I think, has a really, really compelling first episode. And it is a first episode of all time, simply because these characters get introduced and you hate them all. I hope, at least you're like, who are these fucking weirdos that are and jerks that are on my screen? I mean, does the slap happens in the first episode, does it not?
Yeah, it happens almost immediately. It's like, get your shit together. Like,
oh, that's right, they do it twice. My brains forget. Yeah, because then they cut back or they flash back to before that moment or whatever. I thought that they did an excellent job setting up the zombie apocalypse in this world, right? Like the way it would, the chaos that would ensue in that first 30 minutes of true pandemic, you know, because there's a lot of different approaches. Again, just to reference The Last of Us, because it's a very popular piece of media that we all have consumed or at least are aware of. That first episode of The Last of Us, or when they're explaining the Joel's backstory, they do a really good job of setting it up slowly with like hints of the flower in the background being contaminated, or you know, the police chatter, things going on television, and confusion in the Philippines versus here, that kind of stuff. Versus this show, it just kicks it right off the bat, and it's a very different style of, I guess, like launching an apocalypse, which is a funny thing to think about. Which one would you guys prefer, or what did you like about how this anime starts, or did you not like it at all? Because maybe I'm in the minority there, but I thought that after this first episode, I was hooked. I feel like I watched this show the first time in one night. Like I did not want to stop it. I was so intrigued by what was going on, but I don't know if everyone else was the same.
Yeah, for me personally, when it came to like the start of the show, and I feel like this is a symptom of being post COVID as well. Like being post COVID, we understand the escalation of pathogen, especially in a pandemic type of situation. So when we see immediate, oh god, that's crazy, and like the amount of widespread panic that goes off of it, I guess it kind of makes sense, especially if it started in Japan. But I feel like, and this is an interesting an interesting case in my head, where like if High School of the Dead was made like post 2020, it probably would have been a little bit more. It probably would have built up a little bit closer to the Last of Us, where instead of it being immediate, it probably would have played a little bit more into that looming threat with panty shots. So like that's a thing.
No, that's good. I like the chaos element of it. I think it does make sense to like build it up first, but this was sort of just like it was 0 to 100 immediately, right?
Right.
And so what that does is it creates a more chaotic approach to it rather than like building the suspense, which is totally fine because I think the vibe of the show matches the chaos. And so I was all for its approach. And I think like what Pat said too, after the first episode, like you don't really care about anybody. Like I think what that does is it does a couple of things. One, if somebody dies, you don't care as much, which is great because a lot of times in like survival shows, you cheer for people. But then it also creates like a redemption where like after we get a couple episodes in, we find characters that we didn't like. Maybe we're a little bit more fond of these characters now based off of a little bit more context stuff. I will say, however, one character that will never redeem that is the school teacher that creates a sex cult within the first like 12 seconds of the show, where it's like, oh, zombie apocalypse, better start a sex cult. I was like, this has been on your mind for a while, hasn't it? Like you were waiting for an opportunity to pull the trigger on something like this, haven't you? And outside of, which is like, I wish like we saw his demise like better. Like if he died in that car accident, that would have been cool. Like I think that would have been funny with like the whole thing with the bus, and then it ended up being like his demise is dying in like a car crash instead of a zombie apocalypse. Like instead of like getting eaten by a zombie, would have been a nice touch. But I think the show did like a great job at like building the atmosphere, building the characters. Whether you're cheering or against them, I think he does a great job at like showcasing, I would say, most characters like backstory and giving context. There's some characters where like the nurse, she's there for the titties. Like
yeah.
Oh yeah.
the story, like
and, to be and for first aid, actually.
Sure, but like it's not like she's doing like surgery. It's like it's really minor stuff where like I feel like they would have figured it out if she wasn't there anyway.
Oh yeah.
But like, I mean, that's why spoiler, I'm not giving the show a 10, but like it has like it does pretty well, I think, at what it's trying to accomplish. How about you, Pat?
Yeah, no, I think the characters all like, can you imagine after that first episode sitting there being like, oh, I love the main character, you know, like after the slap, after proving that he's not a very good, nice person to a lot of people. And then how about Kota, the nerd or the incel, whatever character that we might, again, keeping in mind that this is an older show, so the labels might not apply perfectly, but like he was awful at the start. Like he comes off as someone that is just not a good person. And then as we move in through the show, he becomes very redeemable and learns, and they start to treat the other characters like people instead of like,
you know what it reminds me of a lot is the fat guy from Science Gate a little bit. Where like in the beginning, like I had no interest in him, blah blah blah. By the end of the show, I was like, he's not that bad.
Yeah, it's the Steins Gate. That is a good analogy, I think, which is funny because it's from the same era, right? It's like maybe a year older.
Yeah, 2009, 2011. So yeah, long year.
Yeah.
Here's a question: what did you guys watch? Dub or sub?
Dub.
Okay. I watched sub the first 2 times, and I watched dub this time, and I can see where people. I think our discussion in our server building up to this is very true. Like the localization on this was crazy. They did some heavy work. It's not just like translating. And it was good. I agree. Like for the most part, like it made it more
bearable.
I thought it was funny. It was so funny.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any like specific moments that you guys want to reference here? Like, I thought the way that they were talking about the guns and stuff was really funny.
The one where they're talking about the police on the bridge, and they're like, "Oh, so you can just do anything if you're a cop?" I'm like, "Yeah, It's funny how this is in 2010. And it's like still super fucking relatable now. Like I was bawling laughing. It was so fucking funny. It's like, yeah, it turns out you can just do whatever you want if you're a cop and not get in trouble. It's like, all right.
One of my favorites was when Psycho just went to the teacher, and that dress isn't working well, and just rips it like up to a panty shot, and she goes, "This is Celine Dion," and she's like, "Is that fucking worth your life?" Like, that was fun.
She said Celine Dion.
Yeah, you mean like?
Oh, I missed that one. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like Dior, she says Dion. Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
There's a lot of good stuff in this show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny stuff if you just close your eyes when you can't close your eyes when the panties are on the screen, because then your eyes would be closed for most of the show. I think this show does aura farming before aura farming was a thing, because like these characters and their dramatic poses and stuff, like both in the action and out. I mean, one of my I have like rotating desktop backgrounds, and I had to find the screenshot myself, but like when they're on the jet or on the bridge and the jet flies by and like takes their picture, that screenshot like at the beginning of the episode is so sick. That's just like, it's like, hell yeah, you know, like there are people alive, we're alive, we're doing our thing. Like of course the scene before that was horrible, but you know, we're gonna pretend it didn't happen. But like a lot of these characters are just like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm using a nail gun that's a homemade like weapon, artillery. I'm using a sword and I'm a black belt in whatever, so I can flip and fly around and do all this crazy shit. Like I think the show leans into that, right? Like the aura farming or the what's another way to put it? Something jumping out
just
for you guys,
looking
maybe.
cool. I feel like
Yeah. Well,
One of my favorite is one of my favorites as well is just Kota making the like messing with the nail gun and then making a sight and then about a scene later not using the homemade sight that he made. That was hilarious to me.
there was an action shot. It's in episode 6 where it's right when Takashi's about to get on the motorcycle and go save the girl, and then Psycho's just like, I don't know. I thought the I don't know if this is a localization, but I thought it was pretty stupid. She goes like, "It's a man's decision. He's gonna do what he's gonna do," essentially. And then he like leaves, and they do the Rosario vampire shot where it's just tilted up. It's just her ass. It's just her ass. You have this dramatic scene where he's gonna go save this little girl. And it's just like, nah, her ass is gonna be 80% of this shot because she's in a thong. I'm just like, yep, this is the type
There
of
it
show
is.
that I'm watching. Like it.
Yep.
Yeah, like
It
don't
is.
hide from the fact that you're maybe going to go off and die trying to save the little girl, but we're gonna get this big ass in your face real quick.
I love that. Isn't it? She's an American too, right? The woman, Inami Rika or whatever. Isn't she like U.S. military or something like that? Oh no, she's a special assault team. Okay, but she's got connection. She got her weapons from Americans or whatever. It was the story or the background behind it. I thought that was really fun. America moment. Fuck yeah.
It was fun how they introduced the guns because they said like those guns aren't legal in Japan, but if you buy them
Not at all.
separately and then like Frankenstein it, that's how they made the guns. I was like, that's something very little that like almost means nothing to the show, but I did like the fact that they were being like factually correct. Like, no, you can't have an M4 in Japan, but if you buy, 8 different pieces and then weld it together, you might.
Yeah, and this show, I think, and that shows like the research I think that the original mangaka did for this show. Like
were they called like the gun otakus over there?
it's something like that.
He is
The Westaboo.
He is a Westaboo
full-on-
/ gun otaku, like 100%, like without question.
And he loves tits, and like, who can blame him, right?
I mean, I'm a fan. I will say it right here on the
also-
podcast. I'm a fan.
I'll back you up on that one, Pete. Yeah.
Hot take alert.
This show, the Westaboo aspect of it is definitely there, but I think there's some psychological stuff that they cover here too, like with the that I think is relatable to not just the intended audience of Japan as well. I think like they do a really good job, I think, of showing like what would a teenager first think of when the apocalypse happens. There's obviously like the initial outbreak where, granted, half of it is used for panty shot purposes, but like the 2 best friends running along and the second one of them's gonna die, the other one immediately is like, fuck you, I never cared about you, let me go. Like that moment, there's the psychology of, like you said, the professor or the teacher immediately kind of making a cult. I mean, that's explored in a lot of zombie things. Like, it's amazing what charisma and speech will do for you in situations like that. There's the psychology of wanting to go chase down and find your parents. Like what is their all their goals is to find their parents. How do they determine what order they do it in? Who's the group leader? Even though there's a freaking teacher or a nurse with them, she ain't the group leader. Like there's power dynamics being explored as well. I thought it was sick. Like it is clearly well thought out in that regard. And I think maybe I'm biased because I've read further into the manga, but I think it continues to explore that in the manga as well in a very, very interesting way.
What it reminds me a lot of is, I don't know why I have vivid memories of this, but like first hour in like high school when you like get to school and you're like super tired and you start like either like daydreaming of like certain scenarios with like your classmates. Like that's what this show kind of reminded me of, where it's just like on the surface, it's just like a fun thing that you're running through your head. and that's how it starts. And then how it later on, like you said, Pat, with like the psychology, I think that's really like, I think it's great that's kind of shown in this, but like getting fleshed out more from just an idea to like an actual story was like really fun. I did wish that he didn't start the sex cult immediately. I do think that's something that could have been shown that to be something great, like why somebody would do that, because like in the face of fear and you see somebody who's calm and collective, like you're going to gravitate towards those people because it feels like they're in control. I think that's awesome. I wish that was expanded a little bit, and then you can turn it into your ecchi sex cult. But if you can't tell, I have a big issue with that one character specifically, because I do think it's something that the show missed that could have been something great.
Yeah, like let him start out just by being like a teacher or a leader, and then as he gets drunk with power, maybe some of that gets shown more. But which I think is what they were kind of going for too. That's what they were trying to do. But then the nature of the ecchi and the pacing on it just makes it so clear that it was like put in for that reason, but and also to be just a villain, you know.
Hold on, Kat. I want to expand on this real quick because there is an ecchi show revolving around the sex cult that involves a bus. And this is not the first one. There's one called The Fruit of Grisea.
The Fruit of Grisea.
Grisea, yeah. Like Haz is a huge fan of it. And how they do it in that show is like the teacher starts with like one girl, and then that one girl helps or like converts another girl into another girl, and then that starts like their sex cult. And I think that how they do it in that show is interesting because it builds to it. Even though, say what you want about a sex cult on a bus, but like I think like the opportunity for like some psychological horror in some aspects of it. Because like some people like aren't for it, and you see that one dude get like kicked off the bus and eaten by zombies when he doesn't oblige by the rules or whatever. I think that could have just been expanded on greatly. All right, go ahead, Kat.
I forgot.
No, it's okay. The psychological thing too, though, there with the cult, and like again, he gets this power almost immediately. And it's very similar to like what it sounds like with Fruits of Grisea. It sounds similar, almost like School Days as well, where
it is a horror.
It is, yeah, and it slowly he turns into
spoiler for Fruits of Grisea. Everybody but one person dies on that bus.
It's awful. Oh my god, sorry. Oh, did you find your point, Kat? Go for it.
Yeah, I found it. It like that makes me really think that maybe the original story wasn't meant to be an ecchi per se. Like it was meant to be.
Yes, it was.
You know what? I could see it, first draft. It wasn't meant to be an ecchi, but come on, I mean the bullet scene, like the teacher character or the nurse character. All of them just being skinny with massive tits. Like there's no no, I'm sorry, Kat. Like I respect, I can see what you're trying to go for, and I'm blocking it. I'm slapping it away.
I would honestly probably say I wouldn't want a non-ecchi version of this.
What?
That is coming from a person that doesn't really like the show.
You don't like the show?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think that the ecchi actually makes it a little bit more enjoyable.
Please expand.
Okay.
Tell me how panty shots elevated the show for you.
I feel like the panty shots were mainly something that helped me not really get bored of the show per se, because like the panty shots are just like, oh my god, here's another panty shot, and then it like keeps me into the story where like it's not. I don't think to me it's that compelling.
Just say you like big boobs and it raises your score. I need to know what part of ecchi elevates the show for you.
Like the consistent amounts of like just something that I can latch onto.
Okay.
And like just like almost like a side quest, like counting how many panty shots have happened during this episode, and then alongside like watching the show, like just having playing with that type of situation where like it's just something to keep me engaged, even though I don't really like it that much.
Okay. So panty shots and titties keep you engaged, which, Cat, I'm in the same boat. It does, for sure. I just
right
think
hand up.
when I think of other elements that the show does, because like I do think some of the dialogue in the show was actually pretty good, like how they talk to each other, and like for as much as episode 6 was in terms of fan service, there were scenes where it's like, you know, Takashi and Kota are in like the room together, like talking to each other. Like I think that dialogue was good. I think you could easily replace ecchi moments with just better dialogue between the cast, and it would have been a better show. But I just want to make sure it's on record that the titties and the panty shots raise the score for Cat. Like we need to have that cemented.
Yeah. And the ecchi, I guess we can just
we dive into it.
Dive into that being given that we are 40 minutes in on this show now. It is so annoying how like because it's such a sick show outside of the etchiness. I think a lot of the characters are really interesting. Their relationships are interesting. The setting is sick and we don't see it enough. We don't see zombie movies where you're trying to survive in a city enough, maybe because it's really fucking hard and it's unlikely, but like think about like The Walking Dead, the last, all of them, you're in the rural outskirts. And again, it's probably because you would not survive if you lived in a city for very long. But this is like day 1, day 2, day 3, you know, so often in these post-apocalyptic scenarios, maybe we get a hint at day 1 or day 0, whatever. And then it skips forward in time to the post-apocalypse. And I love that we're getting no time skips, really. It is just balls to the wall. This is the chaos in what's going on right now. I think that there's so many strong parts of this show. Like you said too, the dialogue. I thought that the way they talk to each other is very realistic for teenagers. It doesn't feel like robots. It doesn't feel like traditional Japanese like small talk dialogue that sometimes shows will have. It is intense. They're fighting for their lives, and they do a great job with that. The action is cool, but then there's just why? Why do we need the ecchi and the non-funny ecchi? To be very clear here, because that bullet boob scene is too iconic to roast, in my opinion.
Oh, it is great.
It's so funny because again, you cannot look me in the face and tell me that scene, they wrote that scene and storyboarded it, animated it, voice acted it, and we're taking themselves seriously and we're trying to like excite you. That was them saying, how funny would it be if we put this in the show, or how ridiculous would this look? Let's do it. You know, like that. And of course, then there's the other part of that. Like I'm thinking about the bullet part of the scene. Then there's the part where he's using her tits as a stock, essentially, or a
mount or some sort.
A mount slash.
It's meant to be used for the bipod.
Well, yeah, it was like basically their excuse for it was it's some padding to you know, because it's a pretty heavy rifle bullet that they were shooting. That was like, all right, fuck you. This is ecchi for no reason. But it was also, how fucking funny is it, man? Like who thinks of that? What kind of show would ever have that in it other than this show? Nothing else could ever get away with that because it would look so ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm in the get rid of the ecchi, and you've got a beautiful like drama, and you can still have the sexual tension between a lot of the leads and whatever without having to have them just have panty shot after panty shot or boobs jiggling in ridiculous like slinky ways. But I don't know. It would be so sick if the show didn't have the ecchi, right? Like, come on, you know.
Well,
but it would be a different show too.
I know Kat would love it. I just gotta say, because like a lot of times, like zombie movies or shows itself has like an inherent like sexiness to it. I think a lot of times I remember like what's the one that they're like trapped in a shopping mall? They're like Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, something like that. Where it's like, you're in a
Yes.
group with like 6 people or whatever, blah blah blah. And in the world, you want to have some fun before maybe you die, maybe you hook up with somebody. Like that is like a thing that happens a lot in like zombie movies. Like, you want to go out one more time. I think this show could have been inherently sexy without the ecchi. I think stuff like the bullet scene is super funny. Like, I think that's a way of like making ecchi fun. Like, I have no issues with that scene. It's more of like episode 6. We've mentioned episode 6 a lot, like where she's like squirting water with her tits between her. I'm like, some girl will have to let me know if you could do that. Like, I'm sure you could, but like, I've never seen it personally.
Hanging out with the right people.
Some of the scenes were just like, I think like when they like rip the skirt, like that's, to me, that's sexy. That's not ecchi, that's sexy, and I like that portion of it. I think we saw it in like the Resident Evil movies, where like the main character's like wearing like a cocktail dress, and then she has to go kill some zombies, and she like rips it for better mobility. I don't know, maybe it's just playing into tropes too much, but like with zombie movies or shows itself, I feel like the selling point is the zombies. Like, you don't need the selling point of the etchiness. I just think being sexy or ecchi or whatever in terms of anime would just be like a fun addition to it and not like a major focal point. And so that's where it kind of loses me a bit, because some points it was fun, but I would say 80% of the time it was like really excessive and unnecessary. But at the same time, they went fucking full ecchi. So I'm like conflicted, because like I'm being a hypocrite a little bit, but I think you could. I guess my point is you can be sexy without being ecchi.
I completely agree with your point, and as someone as well, that's a very anti-ecchi, probably the most out of anyone, the three of us especially. But like, I see your sexy point very, very clearly. Like I think you are correct. So it's like, how does an anime though do the ecchi without fully leaning into it? I guess
I think there's a couple scenes that they did it. So like one towards the end, I think it's episode 11, when like Takashi and Rei were on the bed and he like pushes her down. Like that's a sexy like they were heat of the moment. Not sure if I think he says like, I'm not sure if I should slap you or kiss you or something like that. Like that scene is inherently sexy. Like it's like two people, whatever. There was a scene with Psycho and Takashi where they were in like that shrine together, and I think it's hinted that they hooked up, but like I'm not entirely sure. It's funny that Takashi's sort of like 2-timing, but I think there are examples of the show that did stuff sexy, and that to me worked better than running down the stairs and guess where the camera's angled. That like that's to me that's like lazy. Like it's not like you didn't really think of a way to be sexy or ecchi. It's just like, how can we implement a camera shot to show off some girl's striped panties or whatever?
For me personally, like the reason why I mentioned it being more like a game to me after a certain point was so slitting episode 7. How many panty shots were in the show?
I don't 100 plus.
Probably, yeah, 120.
132.
Okay, that's still not on Rosario Vampire season 1 numbers, so
that's true. But also, like,
you loved it.
Like
you just talked about how ecchi raised your score.
Ecchi raised my score by 1.
So you're saying we needed more panty shots, is what you're telling me?
No, I'm
saying not
enough. This is not where I'm going.
Hey, you brought there was 130 some panty shots.
Because I was treating it like a game. This is fucking Galaga for me. Like the panty shots of the aliens, and I'm fucking shooting them up.
So you want a high score for panty shots? You wanted 1,000 panty shots by episode 7. Is that what you're telling me?
Going all the way, baby. I needed to go all the way.
I appreciate that they didn't really sexualize the child.
They kind of did though.
They do a little bit. Oh, they do a little bit.
I hated that
like,
scene. It was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
No, but like not as much as everybody else, I guess
Bro,
is my
she
point. Which
peed
is
on him. Or I guess peed down her leg while he probably got some pee on him.
well, yeah, and like that is, oh, well, that's what a kid would do in that moment, whatever. Like, I guess it's gross. Like, I guess that's sexual in nature. And it, like, obviously her inclusion in general is just there to, you know, like to exist for those people.
She hands bullets
But-
to people.
Yeah, I guess I'm just so used to like the lolly character
For sure.
being treated worse, where I remember watching it and being like, oh God, if they show this child, like if they show her at all in any way, I am turning this off. And they didn't, at least that I remember or saw.
They kind of did. They changed her underwear.
Ugh.
But speaking of her, I know we're talking ecchi, but I gotta say one thing that like zombies do really well is like the brutality, and having her father get murdered in front of her was nuts. Like
Yeah.
that scene was like, Jesus Christ. Like that's what I'm looking for in like zombies. Cause it's like a lot of times I feel like it's like the main character and their crew, and like they lose like the fun side character that you really like gets killed or whatever. This was just like, oh, this dude's trying to save his daughter. What a nice dad. Stabbed in the chest. It's just like, Jesus.
Yeah,
immediately killed.
I guess this harkens back to the point that I was making a little bit earlier, but like zombies are the main obstacle, at least at this point in the story, right? Like there's obviously there's the bad guy in the sense of the cult guy, right? Like interfering, and there's the, you know, kind of rapist thief that they run into in the first couple episodes too. But it's nice to have a zombie show where, no, yeah, the zombies are a real threat, and they are the main threat, and they are what you are running from. And again, I guess that goes back to again the fact that it's day 2 of the apocalypse, not day 300, where most have been cleared out or have died or have wandered off elsewhere, and then now all that's left are the bandits and the survivors. But like, again, this is where what happened or what would have happened next in this story. I mean, yeah, you know, like where would it have gone next? I really wish we could know, but there's no way. It's very sad, and I just have to wait for another zombie anime to come out and fill in that void, because I love these stories, man.
Zom 100 season 2 win.
Did it get announced or was it just teased?
I don't remember. I think it was. I don't remember.
I feel like I remember it being announced because it like. All right, we're gonna look like idiots to anyone listening right now, but Trent, you can just put the real answer over my face.
It is not confirmed yet.
Oh, it's not confirmed yet. All right, and
nope.
Never mind.
But
Trent.
we will get the
Thanks,
Zombieland Saga movie, so we got some zombie stuff coming.
Yes. Oh my god. And that's the other thing too. I love Zombieland Saga. I got the 2 of them behind me. Oh, I cannot wait for that movie. That's supposed to come this year, is it not? That's this summer.
I don't remember if it's this year or early next year.
Well, maybe for the US it's a whole other thing. But like I think it does come out this summer. I'm pretty sure. So, I cannot wait for that. Even though it's not really zombie core, it is a zombie show at the end of the day. It is funny to think that like 2 of my favorite 5 shows that have come out in the last like 5 years are technically zombie shows. That's
you have a type. It's witches and zombies.
You do.
Witches for sure.
Yo, if we get a zombie witch, Pat is Pat will be so down bad.
If we got Wandering Witch Elena with a zombie fungal infection.
What if Elena dies and then she's the new member of the Zombieland Saga crew? And she wears the hat on stage? Yo, that'd be a sick idol costume.
I'd tattoo that show across my chest. I mean, that would be perfect.
Why
it would be a
dress
sick
up as witches?
These are some questions that we will never get an answer to while we still.
We're asking the real questions here. Do we have anything ecchi else that we wanted to talk about?
we're just exploring our sexuality, and that's fun.
I just want to say, like, because I know there's some like iconic moments and stuff, but is there any other scenes that you guys like really liked, like outside of like the the gun scene or for Cat episode 6, like that stood out to you that like
no,
that you liked?
I fucking hated episode.
Oh, you mean like
6.
from an
Don't do that
ecchi
to me.
perspective?
No, from like
Any
an
other-
actual just anything. I don't know. At least unless you want to keep talking about ecchi.
Oh no, I don't. I thought
I was trying to
you said,
transition
well,
into
I'm
something
good.
else.
I'm
okay.
good.
I thought you were saying like on the ecchi topic, like okay. No, like you mentioned earlier, the scene with the child and her father, that was a brutal one. Again, I think that first episode, to me, like the scene where it's him and his friend and they're fighting, and they're trying to and he has to kill his friend.
Yep.
Like that's brutal. That's
Yeah.
hard. That's hardcore. And that's the life that they're stuck with. I love the parents of so they meet Saya's parents first, right? That's Akagi's. I really liked their I guess it's not really a last stand because it's implied they're still kind of alive, but like I loved their you guys run, we're gonna hold them off, like again like making that sacrifice. I thought that was really well done.
Mhm.
Trying to think of anything else off the top of my head, but the bath scene, oh yeah,
We all everything comes back to episode 6. Like
that episode
Apparently.
is so ridiculous. It's
it's
so
so
silly.
out of place. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
out of place in sense of it's like it goes from like ecchi level 3 to ecchi level 10 like that.
My only defense for it would be maybe the whole point is to show how tense things were for I think that what's that on day like 3 or 4 of the apocalypse.
Sure.
They haven't eaten, they haven't slept well, they probably haven't bathed or anything. Like the whole point is it's them finally unwinding, relaxing and loosening up. And I think it's supposed to make you feel that same way as well, which granted it doesn't do that for me
100%.
in any way, but it might for an 18-year-old boy with his hand in his pants. Oh yeah, and I already referenced the scene a little earlier, but the again, just seeing that the military is actually doing stuff and trying to solve this problem, I think is really cool. A big thing that bothers me with zombie media is the idea that every world military just fails. Like, no, I don't think that that's what would happen as long as the zombies aren't literally invincible. Like,
Right.
there's
Like-
just no way. You realize how much damage an A10 Thunderbolt would do on a small town or on a city street of zombies? Like no, that's just one plane, not even the foot soldiers. It just doesn't. I appreciate that they showed that the military was trying to be involved in the police and everything else. And even then, not necessarily having to have them make the smartest decisions either, just showing that they exist and that they can also be an adversary to the survivors. It's that whole containment versus evacuation aspect of an apocalyptic setting. I think that was explored decently well and was clearly being set up to be explored more in future content that we never got. So sorry, I didn't mean to dominate that section. Kat, any scenes that stuck out to you that I didn't steal?
I mean, I just wanted to jump on to yours as well, because for me, a lot of it was. I think one of the other ones that jumps out to me is just the brutality of a lot of the deaths and how to deal with that. Like one of the ones that jumps out to me is when Saya is about to die and she just grabs the drill and just rams the drill bit into the zombie's head, and it just continues because she's starting to lose her mind.
Yep.
Like that's a scene that really jumps out to me. But the other thing is that jumping onto yours, I also find it annoying when a lot of the when a lot of the world governments is that. For me, it's not that they failed; it's that they refuse to act. It's the containment thing, but they're not trying to save the survivors. They're just there, and they're just going to close them off. It's what we saw with COVID specifically. Yes, they quarantine people, but they also had people getting into the line of danger trying to help people as best they could. If there is a situation where they're like this is happening, they're going to have, that closes in, but then they're also going to have missionaries that go in and try and help people, try and create railroads and defenses against those that are actively trying to eat them, and create a situation where they will be able to get away. Like I feel like that's much more realistic, and that would be, I feel like a fun zombie show that would that could explore that would be like focused on the government trying to extract people out. Um,
It
but
would be cool to see a show focus on that a little bit more, which this show hints at it a little bit, I believe,
A little
but
bit.
not as much as like like seeing them literally doing things or getting a soldier's testimonial. But I guess that's the point of the show though too, is that it was more focused on the main cast. Like
yeah,
it wasn't an omniscient perspective. It was the cast's perspective. So
yeah.
but yeah, so sorry, Pete, what did you have in mind for this?
No, it was one thing that I really liked, and I wish it was maybe like it was foreshadowed a little bit, and maybe could have progressed further in the show. But how they used their weapon of sound essentially when they used the duck boat and drove it into like the pool or the little water fountain and got the tape and just drove it in circles in order to attract the zombies to the sound. I like that. I wish how they use sound was expanded a little bit better, because it seems like that was like a huge weapon that they kind of knew that they were focusing on sound, and they didn't use it as much as I thought, like in terms of like being tactical. But I did like that scene. It was like, oh, what's a great way how we can escape using this duck boat? It's like, well, let's draw the attention using sound elsewhere. And I thought that was like a cool addition to sort of like the world building of the show. I wish it was expanded a little bit more, but I did really enjoy that scene.
There you go. All right, we've been going. Good for
Yeah.
us.
Good for
Finding
us.
a way to yap about this show with between three people for an hour. Let's do our closing thoughts. So, Kat, what did you think overall of this show called High School of the Dead? And did you have anything that we missed, or your final score if the answer is no to either of the above?
Okay, so here's the thing. We are in an age where High School of the Dead, in my opinion, has a better counterpart, and that is Zom 100. I prefer Zom 100 mainly because like the drama in High School of the Dead, I liked it, but I also prefer more lighthearted comedies, especially when like there's with the undertone of looming threat and looming dread. Because we're already in this
We live it
in
every
real
day,
life.
brother.
And like I need something to de-stress. I was watching the last couple of episodes today, and I was like, yeah, this is not it. This ain't it, bro. So like for me, Zom 100 actually takes what part this would have filled for me personally when I was younger. I don't really have anything else that is that's super that we've forgotten, honestly. Like this show is a 6 to me.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
I also, it's higher than I thought it was going to be as well. I'll take that. I'll take the mini dub there where I can.
Yeah.
I will say, I think comparing this show to Zom 100, other than the fact that they're both zombie shows, is almost like comparing Shaun of the Dead, if you're familiar with that.
Yes, I am familiar.
Comparing Shaun of the Dead to like The Last of Us
Yeah,
or
Night of the Living
The
Dead or something.
or the Walking Dead, where they're definitely clearly trying to do different things. Although I will say this show was funny when it was, even like from a physical comedy aspect and like the etchy BS, but like also the dialogue I thought was pretty funny too
It
at
can
times.
be.
But it was clearly meant to be more serious, like you said. It's like it's intense. It's meant to be nerve wracking, I guess, and tense versus Zom 100 had its moments, especially at the end of the show. I have to say, because I love that show too, and I look back very fondly on it. It got intense by the end of it as well, in terms
Oh
of
yeah.
like just wondering what was going to happen, how they were going to solve the problems. You know,
Yeah, and that's something that like I feel like you're not going to be able to avoid in a zombie show. The other thing is that for me personally, like when it comes to zombie shows, like I don't like them, so it's kind of mm, it's just not my thing.
That's fair. I love zombie shows, so don't worry. I'll watch them all for you, and you don't have to watch them. I'll take care of
Preach.
that. Pete, what have you got?
I was gonna say final thoughts. I completely forgot about this scene, but in episode 10, where they're at the mansion or whatever, and to like break the tension, the lady drops her baby's bottle that's made of glass. The glass shatters. She's feeding a baby a bottle, and it's made of pure glass. Who has a glass milk bottle for their baby? Insane. That scene really took me out of the entire show. All jokes aside, we touched on the ecchi, and it's something that I really wasn't whatever is fine. But what the thing that the show does better than, I would say, other like ecchi action shows, better than Ikitosen or Freezing or whatever ecchi action that there are, is that the show is fun. Like the show is just a blast. The rewatch was such a breeze to get through. It didn't feel like any of the episodes were slugging. It didn't feel like any of the episodes were like inherently bad. I do think just like outside of the teacher, I think the cast was pretty good, I would say. I would love, for the romance fan that I am, I would love to see how the Takashi drama goes forward with Psycho and Ray, because he's hooking up with both of them. So I would love to see how that plays out in it. For a show from 2010, looks pretty damn good. Like Madhouse did a great job at animating this. I mean, the bullet scene, we brought it up like 3 times. For 2010, that shit's nuts. Like that's a really well animated scene. Yeah, I mean, for a zombie show, this was pretty damn good. I enjoyed it. I wish there was more. Fan theories maybe of like how the show would progress would be interesting to read. But yeah, had a great time. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Alrighty. And yeah, for me, I think one thing we didn't talk a lot about is the specifics of the characters, such as like Psycho. I feel like we barely touched on her. I thought that they all kind of filled their cookie cutter purposes in a way, like the brooding girl, the lead, the lead's love interest, the nerd, the bitch, the slutty teacher, blah blah blah. Like they all had their roles. But then
she was reaching for his dick in episode 6. You see that? Yep. She wanted the pipe, like straight up.
I think that though that they obviously had their like art or tropes to fill, but there was some layers to them. Like Psycho is clearly fucked up mentally. Like she is clearly like mentally just she's great, but she's like the patriarchy got to her or something, right? Like something is going on in there that knocked a screw loose. Maybe a zombie apocalypse would do that,
or being almost raped and then like essentially killing the person that was trying to do that to you.
That probably doesn't help either, of course. Too.
Yeah, that doesn't help one bit.
Oh no, but but I guess that I was trying to be kind about it. But fair enough. Kota again is so awful at first, and then it turns out like, oh no, he's just a nerdy, misunderstood person, and he's not the worst thing in the world. He's still a little sketchy to me, but like, I appreciate him being
he's
knowledgeable.
Useful. Yeah,
he's very useful. Yeah, he's found his niche within their group, and it works. And he's gonna bag Saya. There's no question about that at this point, right? So
it's science.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. Yeah, can you imagine a dating sim game based off of this?
Yes,
that'd be
I
hilarious.
could.
I could very easily a visual novel, whatever they call them. Yeah, that'd be fun. I love this show from a entertainment perspective. I think it's absolutely so much fun to watch, and I don't think it's perfect. The ecchi is very annoying at times, but I think my enjoyment, the ecchi is annoying, but it never makes me not want to keep watching the show.
Yep.
Like it's never so bad that I just can't, like, I don't know, look down at my phone or read focus on the dialogue and just ignore what's going on. And I think that what separates this from Rosario Vampire for me is simply the setting, the fact that it's, instead of vampires, which I find so boring, in media, it's zombie apocalypse. It's group surviving an apocalypse moment rather than, I don't know, I don't even remember Rosario's plot at this point. I almost misconstrued High School DxD into it. That's how bad I don't remember Rosario's plot at this point. So I think, yeah, my enjoyment for the show has it at a 9, and I think I'm going to stay there. It's probably like critically like a 7 or 7.5. I do want to give a shout out too to there's a YouTuber who I watch, the best guy ever, did a fantastic video on High School of the Dead, talking about how it's good. And I think that he gave me the confidence to believe that this show was fun
He
when
gaslit
I
you
first
into
watched it. No, he truly did. Like, and I say this unironically. Like, I used to think that I was foul for enjoying the show, simply because it had Ecchi on it, and I still kind of believe that. But I also believe in myself a little bit more that there like it's not just, oh, I like the show because I like tits. It was like, no, I liked this show because the characters are well written and a bunch of the other good
Yeah.
scenes that we've talked about so far. So I guess, like, shout out to that video. It's it should be
I
pretty
think
easy
more
to find.
people should be like, I like the show. It had things I didn't like in it, but I still really like the show. And I think that's perfectly fine. I just wish more people were like upfront with it and be like, yeah, it had a lot of titties, but the show was great. Like,
Yeah.
because that's kind of my thoughts too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're all pretty much on the same page. You know, I think we voted pretty fairly, better than I expected us to do too. Honestly, I really thought that this show was going to get sacked.
Well, if
like
Jay
all
was
my
here,
other.
Jay had it at a 4.
Yeah.
I think Miles
don't
had
know.
it like a 5 or a 6. So
Really, he had it at a 5 or a 6. I thought he enjoyed it more than that. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think Miles fucking hated the show.
Yeah. No, he
I'll see if he updated his Val.
I think he actively said that he did not like the show.
It's very illogical at points, but I also think it does it better, if that makes sense. I think there's a lot of times where people like did like the wrong thing on purpose to add things to the story, but it's not a documentary. I want to be entertained, and I think the wrong decisions were the correct decisions in the storyline in terms of like being or having fun and having drama ensue and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. All right. I'll just do our total scores then. We totaled up to a 24, unless I can't do math. 24, which means we average out to an 8.0. Wow. Let's go. That's
Almost a full point higher
than what the Mal is. Yeah, the Mal is only at a 7.06. So good for us. Again, yeah, like Pete said, never would have happened if everyone was healthy tonight, but who knows? Maybe they're off being zombies somewhere. Something.
I
don't
hope
know.
to God not.
Yeah, me too. I don't want that either. That would suck. Zombie apocalypses are scary. So yeah, I guess let's talk about what show we're watching 2 weeks from now. Based on the votes that we had, we have Aka 13 not receiving a legacy point.
No, really? Damn.
Unfortunately, no.
Fuck, am I have to change my show? Because I was hoping to get a legacy point. Fuck.
The voting was actually pretty even. Second or the last place, your show, and first place were only separated by 6 non-legacy points. So
I would have
okay.
voted for Aka.
It was close. It was very close. In third place and receiving another legacy point is Interspecies Reviewers. 2 points in front of that, we had our second place show in Spirited Away.
Ooh, so close.
Very close. And 1 point behind, not including a legacy point as well, or 1 point ahead rather, we have Rosin Maiden, which will be what we watch for our next watch club. So yeah, those are the shows that got legacy points and didn't, and what we're watching. I am so not used to doing this part, as you can tell by my rambling.
You're doing great.
And I'm trying my best to think. My brain is also maybe a little tired from a long work day, but who knows? We're figuring this out.
Shit, I'm hungover from Vegas. You got to push through, my man.
I'm hungover from Cape Cod, buddy. You know,
I'm still
Vegas,
hungover
Cape
from
Cod,
Detroit.
a little different.
So
I went to P-Town, baby. I got
Whoa,
I got some stories.
Yo, chill.
I hung out with dudes who make polycarbonate diamond to push polymers through it. So
Talk about how you went to Pound Town. Get out of here.
No, P-Town, like Provincetown. Oh God, no, I was not. No, Pete. No.
Hey, bro.
No.
Hey, bro. We have room for a third bisexual, my boy.
No,
Come
P-Town
on
is
in. The water is great.
P-Town is Provincetown. It's the tip of the Cape. It's a very famous
You're even at the tip of the Cape, bro. It's fun.
All right, let's nominate some shows.
Let's nominate some shows, and yeah, we are gonna let Miles nominate because it was unfortunately he wasn't able to make it for an emergency, which we've used before. So Kat, why don't you nominate first?
Well, I've been informed that my vote, as I have forgotten to, would have been the vote of the people. So, in order to continue that, I will be the nomination of the people. I'm going to nominate Ishizoku Reviewers.
Why? That's so lame.
Yay, interspecies reviewers. I have to vote for it. Yay. All right. Let's keep it rolling here. Pete, what have you got? What are you going to nominate? Try to beat interspecies reviewers. I know. It's the same joke over and over again. Like, oh my God, I'm so not looking forward to it, but it'll win someday, and that's okay. Well, you know what? We'll find a way to make it fun. Just like, I don't think people thought this episode would be fun. And I think it was. So we'll see. We'll see. I
find it fun when we can all tear.
No, you don't. You forgot what show you're going to nominate. You forgot what you were going to bring, and Miles brought up the show, and then you're like, "Okay, I'll do it because I didn't come prepared."
That might be true, but
I know it's true. I've known you for 6 years. I know exactly who you are.
No, you don't.
You forgot what show you were going to nominate. Miles mentioned interspecies reviewers in the Discord chat, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to nominate this show. I know exactly who you are.
Honestly, I've had Aka 13 on my watch list for like 8 years at this point. So that was going to be my vote.
What?
That was going to be my nom.
No, it wasn't. Why? But, no, I nominated it. Why would that be
Because
your nomination?
somebody nominated it and forgot who did it. Because I wasn't on the episode.
We talked about it 4 minutes ago. Okay, I'm nominating Aka 13.
Aka 13. All right, sweet. Miles specifically messaged me and said, if Kat nominates interspecies reviewers, then I am nominating this show. This show is Scum's Wish. So Scum's Wish is going to be nominated by Miles for this show, or for us to have to vote on. At least that show has like drama. I guess we did Domestic Girlfriend too, right? And it's like the same similar vibes. We'll see. Yeah. I guess I have to fall on the sword again, don't I? I have to be the person that takes one for the team here. I'm going to nominate Spirited Away because I still haven't seen it yet, at least. So, and I totally came prepared and brought a nomination that. Yeah, totally. Yeah, good job, Pat. Thanks, Pat.
At least it's the show you nominated last week.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But all right.
You came prepared here last week.
It doesn't matter. You've done this for 5 years. Oh, we're doing Watch Club on Monday? Get out of town.
It was Tuesday.
It doesn't feel like it. All right. So again, just to rehash, we had interspecies reviewers, Aka, Spirited Away, and Scum's Wish. Is that correct?
That sounds right to me.
All right. Perfect. All right. Well, that wraps up our Watch Club. Thank you guys for listening. And Pete, take it away.
If you have made this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Next week, we are finally getting in the United States and we will be doing our review. That is the movie of Rose of Versailles. So look forward to that review. Otherwise, in 2 weeks, if you are here for Watch Club, we will be watching, I believe it's the first season. I think it has a second season of Rosen Maiden. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.